Today, we have a video that is slightly different than usual. We're gonna review the draft strategy of Dirty Lake and the Boys, the winner of PCC 7 against the Professors, which were their matchup in the semifinal, and they graciously shared with me a little bit of their behind the scene document. They did some mock drafting and we're gonna deep dive into it to see how preparing yourself through mock drafting can actually give you an edge when it comes to the match itself. So we're gonna jump inside the document, and first we're going to try to explain a little bit for those that don't know how the draft works currently in the competitive world of Predecessors. And so here we have two teams. Dirty Lake and the Boys is first pick, Professors is second pick, and what happens is those red square that you see are bans. And so the first team are going to ban one character, the other team ban another character, and then the first pick get the first pick of the character, but then the second team get to pick two characters, then Dirty Lake and the Boys two characters for themselves, one character on the side of Professors, and then we have a second round of ban. And so here Professor is going to ban first, Dirty Lake and the Boys ban second, then we get one pick for Professors, two pick for Dirty Lake and the Boys, and we're gonna round up the draft with the last pick on the side of Professors. So that was just to give a review of how the ban strategy was, how the pick and ban system works in the PCC. And here we're gonna dive into a little bit of mock draft. And so when we start, we do have 4 mock draft that I think are exploratory mock draft for the side of Dirty Lake and the Boys. So here, all mock draft are going to be with Dirty Lake and the Boys first pick, Professor second pick. And here we see that Dirty Lake and the Boys is going to ban Rictor. They imagine Professor is going to ban FaZe. All of those things are made by Dirty Lake and the Boys player. They kind of try to scout and think as they were on the shoes of Professors. And so here we get a Zarus first pick. Zarus pretty top pick in the PCC 7, and we're going to answer with a Gideon Argus. Gideon, a pick that is seen quite a lot by Soul Reaper. Professor love the Argus a lot. Kind of seems plausible in a sense. Crazy Fool, pretty strong on the Argus character as well. And here we're going to answer with the Drongo plus Narbash. Drongo, a pick that Dirty Lake and the Boys has been liking quite a lot. Survivor, also on the side of Professors, is pretty strong with it. And so here we imagine that probably 6 is going to go either Camera or Calari, depending on what they want to go for. Gonna go for the ban Sevrog. Plausible once again. Lobber pretty strong on the Sevrog. We're gonna go for a ban Serat. We don't want to deal with Nitro Serat. Securing the Steel, a character that Professor kind of liked a lot. And then we're gonna go for Iggy and Scorch and Quang. And we round up the draft with the Twin Blast. So once again, I think those drafts for now are just we're going quickly through them because it's about kind of having an idea of what we think Professor would do and what we can do as Dirty Lake and the Boys. Second mock draft here, we go for a Zarus ban. I think here the idea is that if we go for different ban, what is happening? Professor is going to go for the FaZe ban. We first pick Argus this time because that's the character that is available. Gonna be answered by Gideon Drongo. Once again, Drongo pretty high prior pick for both teams. It makes sense to be contested here. And we're going to secure the Narbash Sevrog. Note that we don't have to secure a Drongo. Sevrog once again for Lobber. We're going to secure the Rictor. Drongo dual lane, very strong. A dual lane that Professors have been running extensively. So it makes sense to have it here. And also removing a potential counterplay to the Gideon Black Hole. And here we're going to go for the ban Res. Probably to not have a very safe pick and maybe force Dirty Lake and the Boys on the Twin Blast. And here we're going to ban the Serat again. Here, once again, Camera Calari. We answer with Twin Blast Quang. And then we're going to run up the draft with Steel. Third mock draft. Once again, all of that is from the side, the view of Dirty Lake and the Boys. We're going to ban Argus. Once again, we go into this idea that if we try different first ban, how the draft evolve, what we can see, just basically run the draft and see a little bit what can happen. Of course, Professors might not do exactly what Dirty Lake and the Boys think they are doing, but it's always give you some good insight and how to become better at drafting. FaZe ban. Zarus first pick, Rictor Gideon being secure this time. And here we have the Narbash Sevrog, which means that here we're going to secure the Drongo. Ban the Twin Blast. This time we probably try a different carry ban. Previous situation was we ban the rest. This time we do ban the Twin Blast to see how things evolve. We're going to secure the Steel. This time we try to go for Kira, and maybe we think we can go for a Howitzer or a Fate to try like to counter that composition, and we're gonna secure once again Chimera or Calari. For Smoke Draft, here we're going to go for another first ban. What could happen if we ban the Drongo first? Like we already tried the Rictor, the Zarus, the Argus. Let's see what can happen with that Drongo ban. And so here we get the phase ban, Zarus being secured. This time we have Argus, Rictor. We answer with the Gideon Narbash. Res is banned. Probably here that means we remove the Sevarog from Lobber. Once again, we remove the Serat from Nitro. Still being secured. Kira, Quang, and we're going to run up the draft with Kalari. So here we have a little bit of a panel of what Dirty Like and the boys would like to have and what they believe Professor is going to pick in response. So there is like a few things we can extract from these first four mock draft. Is like first, Dirty Like and the boys is convinced that Professor is going to ban phase on the first round of ban every time. Another thing that we want to do is that we're gonna remove Serat on the second round of ban for the side of Dirty Like and the boys, and we don't believe Professor is going to value Serat earlier in the draft, so that's something that we can always go for. Something else is also that we want for sure to secure the Narbash as our second and third pick every time. That's something that seems to be core to the strategy that Dirty Like and the boys would like to run. And then also we see that if Zarus is open, it's gonna be the first pick, no matter what. The only time they don't first pick Zarus is because it was banned by themselves. Then they truly believe that Argus and Gideon are going to be like quite fought over, and they never will like go through this first pick phase in a sense. Like when both team have 3 pick, always Argus and Gideon going to be like secure in that moment. So that's actually like pick that are important for both team, but not to the point that we're like fully like it's not like Narbash or the Zarus that we really want to have them. It's just like if we have them, it's good, but that's something that also probably the other team want to have, so we can't secure everything. Then we have Dirty Like and the boys that truly believe that Rictor is a very high prior pick for Professors. To be fair, Crazy Fool has played exclusively Rictor for a very long time because he was always open, and here we can see that Dirty Like and the boys are quite convinced that Rictor is always going to be in this first pick phase, kind of similar of what the Narbash is. And to be fair, by playing Narbash, Rictor is supposed to be a good counter to Narbash, so pretty plausible once again. And last, they're convinced that if the Zarus is not available for the side of Professors, they're always gonna end up on Chimera or Kalari for 6. Like 6 is very well known to be able to play the Zarus, the Chimera, the Kalari, and also the Crunch, but recently he hasn't played the Crunch so much, and so they're very convinced that 6 is gonna be on that character. So now that they have done that preparatory work, now they're looking at what can we extract from that? Like how can we devise a strategy to give us an edge against Professors if we're a first pick? And so here we're gonna entering into like what they would like the draft to look like, in my opinion. We have 3 more mock drafts that we're gonna review, and then we're gonna compare to what actually happened on tournament day. So like I said, we have 3 mock drafts, and there's like a few things that we have extracted that Dirty Like and the boys are convinced or are going to do. First, they are convinced that phase is going to be banned every single time by Professors as their first ban. Other things that we know is that Dirty Like and the boys are always going to ban Serat, and they truly believe that Professor is never going to actually pick the Serat earlier. So that's something that is kind of set in stone in the draft for themselves. The thing that they want to go for here is they want to go for the Kalari ban. And I think the idea of the Kalari ban is because they want to force 6 on the Chimera. As we have seen, Dirty Like and the boys is convinced that 6 is going to play either Zarus, Kalari, or Chimera, but we know that the Zarus is the first pick for Dirty Like and the boys no matter what. So the idea is probably to force 6 on the Chimera, and here they just like place the Chimera at the end of the draft is something that's probably going to be open, and they don't really want to have to deal with it. As an answer, they truly believe that Professor is going to value the Rictor pretty heavily, and so that's why like they put it like all the time here as first pick. And here they just try to see like 3 different scenarios that they believe the second character that Professor could prioritize is either Argus, Gideon, or Drongo. And so here we're gonna see like how the draft kind of evolve based on like this potential like discrepancy of direction. Here we see that Dirty Like and the boys would love to prioritize Argus if it's open. And if Argus is already taken, they're going to prioritize the Gideon over the Drongo. That's kind of like the idea. And of course, as we have seen previously, Narbash always want to be picked at that situation. And so that's what Dirty Lake and the boys are going to. Here, naturally, we're gonna go for like the Drongo because they truly believe that Survivor wants a Drongo. And also like here, the Gideon was still open on that first draft. So that means the Gideon is getting picked because that, as we have seen, like that was one of the rules they kind of found from their mock draft, that probably Argus and Gideon always gonna be like contested. And so here we're gonna go like for some ban. They truly believe that if Survivor and Crazy Fool get the Rictor Drongo dual lane, they go for the ban Twin Blast to kind of limit this opportunity. And we're going to secure like with the steal to kind of round up the comp as we were expecting. Like they love the steal as a frontliner. And so that means that here we're going to round up the comp with like Kira and Sevarog. So that's kind of a little bit what the side of Dirty Lake and the boys were expecting the draft to look like. And now we are going to jump into what the real draft during the real tournament day has actually looked like. So we do have this last draft is exactly what happened during tournament day, and that's pretty crazy. So of course we start with the calorie ban. Like here, Dirty Lake and the boys have the agency. They wanted to go for the calorie ban. They did suppose that Professor was going to go for the phase ban, and that's indeed what Professor has done. So far, pretty good reading. Here we go for the Zarus first pick. Once again, Dirty Lake and the boys have the agency, so they do pick through their strategy. And we're going to answer with the Gideon Sevarog. So already something that is a little bit like off the prediction is like that professors are going to deny that Sevarog from Dirty Lake and the boys and from Lobber. So here that was already like professors kind of... looking out a little bit of the jab through like the strategy of drafting of Dirty Lake and the boys, but Dirty Lake and the boys kind of like, okay, they didn't pick the Rictor. Still, now we know what we should be doing. We want the Argus, we want the Narbash. So far, we're looking pretty good on what we wanted to have because that's the same thing as the first and second mock draft with the Kalari ban. And so here the answer is, ooh, the Drongo. So like they knew Survivor was going to secure the Drongo at that point. And what is the ban? The Twin Blast. Like professors so far, beside that Sevarog, here we're exactly in the scenario of like the first and second draft. It's exactly that happening, like mainly like the second draft, as we can see with the Gideon being picked. The only difference is Sevarog has been picked over the Rictor. So we go for the Serad ban because that's what like Dirty Lake and the boys want to do. And here we're gonna get the Chimera picks. Okay, Chimera wasn't last pick, but like they knew that 6 was going to go on the Chimera, and this whole draft situation for me was to force 6 on the Chimera. And so here we're gonna secure the draft with the Kira and the Quang. Basically we don't have access to the Sevarog, but the Quang kind of does something that is similar. Not as good, of course, but still like pretty similar. And here the last pick for the side of Professor is gonna be Rictor. So you can see how this mock draft strategy kind of completely, like Dirty Lake and the boys kind of almost fully read like a book professors. Because if you look at the draft, basically, Dirty Lake and the boys got the draft exactly what they wanted. This idea of the double bruiser, maybe tank if they got the Sevarog, with this Narbash that create like the link with the Argus plus the Kira. That was like what they were looking for. Well, on the side of professors, like beside that Sevarog, but they thought that Sevarog would be a steal. So in a sense, in terms of team composition, yeah, it's slightly different, but it's not that different. They have everything. And I think like one of the big idea was like this Narbash is actually like very strong into a Rictor, not in lane, but later on, because you get like these strengths of being able to just like run at him and kill him on cooldown. And also, like this Narbash comp is very strong at dealing with a Chimera, because Chimera kind of want to go in and then like she start to deal some damage, and then because you have sustained damage plus sustained healing, you can start dominating the team fight. But that sustained damage is not strong enough to deal through the healing of a Narbash. And then it's like making it like very complicated. Like you have the Gideon, quite a good sustained damage, the Chimera, quite a good sustained damage, but into a Narbash comp, it's actually like very tough to play into. And also like Narbash is very good at playing front to back, engaging, disengaging, while Chimera just want to go in. Like you can't play front to back with a Chimera at all. And so this whole idea, I think Dirty Lake and the boys kind of set up a trap to force Professor on the Chimera comp, while they have a very strong composition themselves to deal with the Chimera. and they absolutely crushed them on that first game that they played. And that's like where you can see that simply like doing this extra effort of doing those mock draft, like researching your opponent and then like kind of trying to devise a strategy from like those exploratory draft that we have seen, and then you refine what you're trying to do and how close it looks like on G day because you did your homework correctly. That give you like already like a big like advantage, and also like brings you with a lot of confidence because you feel that you are ready for that match. And that just shown like Dirty Like and the boys were oozing confidence, and in the end they ended up winning the whole thing. And a portion of it is probably because they have done their homework correctly. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like this format a little bit different when we go into more depths of like some strategy that top teams are bringing to the table. And once again, thank you for Dirty Like and the boys for sharing their behind the scene documents so I could make that video happen. Thanks a lot. Have all a great time. I'm out.